in the beginning, everything is messy. In creation, everything is messy in the beginning. So new waves will come, more structure will come. In most religious texts, God makes something perfect and puts it, on earth. But the Babylonians, it didn't work like that. One of the oldest civilization had a completely different vision. Like, in the beginning, there was chaos, and the structures inside chaos came out and became gods. So I think the metaverse will be the second one. We'll go through a lot of noisy, dark complexity and find new jewels there. Jewels of creation, far better than reality. I think reality is severely overrated.
Hello, Walter.
Hello.
You've now officially been on the podcast more than any other person. So
I like to be in the leaderboards.
Yeah. So, Walter, what is the metaverse? What is the world that we're coming to, and what's going to happen?
So it's interesting to think of what history books will say about these years. I think they will say in 2019 there was a big pandemic, and in 2020 millions of people died, and the world tried to bring down the virus, but people had to live at home, and they had to use digital means. And because they used more and more digital means, more things were built into digital. And in 2022, many failed attempts of governments later, people started to realize that they are a nuclear family again, and they had moved and they had put their houses in order. And they didn't think work from home was actually that bad. They didn't think that they would ever return. And they had realized that for that, somewhere in 2021, that digital was actually more important to them than the physical world. And in 2022, people, start to call all these experiences and these conversions and these new products the metaverse.
Do you think it's like a situation like after the plague in Europe?
Yeah.
Like a new level of creativity was unleashed, and because guilds became powerful, and that brought more people to the middle class. Like, is it that kind of thing in your mind?
You bring it up there, the guilds. What do you think all these apes, what's with all these apes,
Yeah.
It's like
wait, what apes?
In Solana, you have the Degenerate Ape Academy. It's the biggest one. Then they have the Solana Monkey Business. You have on Ethereum, you have the Bored Ape Yacht Club. It's all apes. Like we are in the descent of man,
Wait.
They're NFTs,
It's okay. I understand, but for the audience that's watching this, Walter, you have to describe what you're actually talking about, because not everybody's going to know. On Solana and Ethereum, there are all of these apes being expressed as NFTs. Is that right?
Yeah. All right. Well, let me try to explain that then. So people are now living more and more digitally, and they realize that most of their lives is going to happen in the digital world, and the fabric of our reality will be digital, and the real world will be less important. Now, so there is this old philosophy of the territory and the map. If the real world is a territory, so now that we are colonizing cyberspace, we can redraw the map. We can make new clubs, because not everyone could go into a golf club, I think.
And not everybody can get into a degenerate ape club either.
Well, actually you can. You just have to pay.
Yeah, it's quite expensive,
So is the same elitism or the same thing going to happen in the metaverse, where there's going to be inequity, and what I mean? People are going to be left out?
Well, I don't think so, because to buy an ape, so I think it's like $10,000 forever. And you're part of that club, and they have a roadmap. So they are going to make their own clothes, their own sneakers, probably also their own currency. They're going to do investments together. So you have your own club, because the real club, like you don't want to go there anymore because they don't want to wear masks and they are not vaccinated.
So Walter, the first thing is there was cryptocurrency. There was a way to pay for things online, right? What is the utility in a really simple way of what the NFT makes possible? Because it's not like money, it's something else. What is it?
Yeah, so this NFT, which can be a profile pic, which can be, whatever, it can be a visual, it can also be music, it can be a sound. There is a market value for that because it is unique. Because what we have done is you have the traditional world where the physical world resides, our garden or our house. And then you have the digital world, which is happening on our computer. Now we have bigger screens, we are projecting it on TV. We still need the physical world because the physical world is a bridge between that, what really happens and that computer. With crypto, we tokenize it. And tokenization means we burn that bridge. And now you have two different things. You have the real thing and you have the digital twin. But because there is no more portal, they went through that portal and it is no more actually connected to reality, you can do so many things more with that thing because it's a derivative. It's basically a number, it's mathematics. And you know why we use mathematics? Because we use it for the things that terrify us, like the vastness of space and the shape of time. That's now no longer needed in that digital twin. So the NFT is a good. A crypto is a currency. What is a good? A good is something you buy and that has a market value. So there are now blue chips in that good. So if you buy a Bored Ape Yacht Club or a CryptoPunk, these are things that cost, a CryptoPunk costs like several $1 million. Like a Bored Ape Yacht Club or several $100,000 on Ethereum. Now, Solana, the other blockchain, is young. So there, they basically copy everything that happened that worked well on Ethereum. They copy it on a cheaper blockchain. And young people can now get in because people from my generation were in the other chain, in the Ethereum. And young people couldn't get in. Now they have a new blockchain, fresh, a lot of speed and cheap. And, it will take over the other blockchains. So with that NFT, you will be able to open your wallet. So I have now bought my name, my nickname, Loglos, which is a statistical term, loglos.sol. With that name, if you take your wallet and you want to send me money, you just type in Loglos. You don't have to remember or you can do my ape, you can click on my ape and send that ape money and it comes to me. The NFT will be your password, it will be the access to your wallet, it will be the access to your crypto. So that's what I call the Internet of Value, all that value in one. Now, the interesting thing is trust. Trust was gold, before Nixon, and trust was government IDs. Now, trust is calculated. We use mathematics for trust. That's what happens in crypto. That's what validating. So we are using computers to calculate trust. What does these computers run on? Electricity. So we are converting electricity in trust. And so now we are replacing electricity by sunlight. So we are converting sun in trust. It's a very nice thing, I think. We should have done that from the beginning.
But when you say we'd rather be in a digital universe than the real world, in the world, I want to be in the real world. Right?
Me too, but there is no real world anymore.
And it's not a choice. It's not a choice between one or the other. You're part of all the metaverse things, like you're on Instagram and Facebook, and
soon, I guess soon.
You ride your bike in the metaverse, and those are the beginnings of the metaverse. True. Coming through your door, and they're going to be every year. They're just going to be more and more because there's just more and more clever ideas that are going to make it easier for you to collaborate and get the things that you want.
So let me ask a question. Does the metaverse continue to expand so that there's evergreen opportunity, right? So we're using our resources in this world, this world analog. Is the same thing possible where we're going to just oversaturate or deplete all the resources, or is it infinite?
Well, I think it is finite. I thought about this a lot. It's a good question, actually, Priscilla. I know that in California, people always say that's a good question, but this is a really good question.
Thank you. Thank you. This means a lot to me. This means a lot to me. It's probably the best compliment I've ever had. Okay.
So you see where is the finiteness in that world of working from home? And I realized not so long ago, that's why once a week, I now have a small meeting with my engineers in my office, which is not fun anymore because it's like empty. You go through empty streets. You don't have to wait anymore at Starbucks like you used to. You have to immediately order, like,
Yeah.
like, give me a minute. And you do that, but it's already second class citizen. This is the reality. Now, what is not working for me is what I call the time to absorb innovation. So you see, when I had my engineers around me, and actually I had the ultimate setup. Here was Brandy, my assistant from a long time. Like here is Greg, that's my CFO. There was Akshay, was my CTO, and there was Marina. She did all the legal things. So we were an island, and we governed everything from that island. Now we work as a swarm, a little swarm, and so Marina said, "Hey, have you checked out this? Oh, let me do this. Look, oh, wow." I didn't have to do it myself. There was a shortcut. I learned it immediately. Greg said, "Hey, look, you made a mistake here. Look here. Now we are no longer learning parallel with other people. We are learning serial. It takes longer, and we are often exhausted. It can also be my age, but I think it's not. I think it's because you have to do everything yourself. Like now, writing a story, is because there's so much to learn. It's like a PhD or a book where you say, at what point do you stop reading and start writing? Because I learned with my PhD, you can't do both because you rewrite stuff, and it never ends.
Well, I think you're bringing up an important point, which is we're sort of, it's all coming in, what's going out, what are we, right? We're just taking stuff in. Do you think that our brains are gonna, literally, and I mean this for real, like in a neurological way, are our brains adapting, to this different way of growing? If you think of little kids that are now learning on their phone or their iPad or whatever, how we don't know, but will this take us into an evolutionary moment, like a transformational moment of who we are as humans, and I guess towards singularity?
Yeah, I think so.
I think they said the same thing about newspapers.
But well, I wonder, but what do you think, Walter?
I think, to tell you, from my own point of view is I'm always onto new things. There is one transition that I have not made. I cannot read a book on a screen. It's impossible. I tried, I tried in airplane. It's not. I need to have paper and I need to write in it. It's stupid because but otherwise somehow it doesn't work for me. So we all have.
Stupid. Why would you think it's not stupid? Isn't there the eye-brain connection? The movement of writing is different than typing.
Yeah. Also, my my
just
writing has become sort of illegible. I could be a pharmacist or a doctor.
But just because you don't do it every day. I think the thing is that it's an old trope that things get worse because of internet or technology things. It's like, I think that the challenge of communicating with others is a challenge. Yeah. Some clever person's going to come up with a way that it feels like they're sitting next to you, even though they're not. Maybe it's Oculus, or maybe it's some other simple thing. These are not finite tools. They keep changing over time. I think that the potential for the tokens right now, we just see them as, it's a JPEG, it's a music file. But at a certain point, they'll have agency. They'll allow you to do certain things. They'll mean more than they do now. They'll be involved in trusts, and they'll be involved in in keeping track of history and in all sorts of ways that they're not, you know, they have as much potential as the imagination that we put into it.
Sure, for sure. But I will also just, the other side of that is, you know, when you're composing an email, at least on my, you know, sort of system I'm on, even with Gmail, it'll start to, in a very not dynamic or creative way, try to anticipate what I want to write. And I think, and if someone would tell me how to hit the thing that says that, I don't know how to access when it says, hey, Jesse, that was great. I don't know how to get my Gmail to go, that was great. I can tell you, if somebody told me how to do it, I would become so lazy and let that AI write to you.
The trick to managing the email more effectively is simple. Just don't send any.
Okay.
Because if you send one, you'll get one back. You don't forget that.
Well, no, but do you know what I mean? Like, there is the way where it's reductionist as opposed to, look, we want to, you two are talking about creativity. Walter, you're talking about incredible, immense, you know, scientific, you know, discovery. Jesse, you're talking about extreme creativity. And I just challenge to see, I'm only trying to understand, you know, how it can be, this metaverse is a opportunity for extraordinary creativity and access. Because Walter, when you said $10,000 to get in, there's people going to watch this that's at $10,000 to get in. People don't make $10,000.
No, but that's to buy a you know, a specific thing. You know, it's like,
But-
there's lots of other ways to do it.
No, but when you think about Giga, when you think about, we still don't have connectivity. So this has to assume that we have access. I'm just trying to shoot, I'm
Yeah,
trying to
but-
challenge, that's all.
The $10,000, that's like the blue chips, you know. You can also have one for $5. Then
Yeah.
you have, like, you know, all the people you don't want to meet are there.
You know, it's like we live in an imperfect world,
I
and the
heard
metaverse
that.
will be metaverse will be imperfect too, you know.
You know, but I once said that the difference between TEDx and TED is the following. You know, at TED, I'm telling people, "Hey, you didn't answer my email." At TEDx, everyone is telling me, "Hey, you didn't answer my email."
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about that, because that's a
No,
higher.
no. Let's talk about architecture in the metaverse, Walter.
Okay.
You know, what are the possibilities of architecture, or taking trips that, you know, buying tickets to things I'll never actually be able to experience myself, but through the metaverse, I can have a hint of it.
I have some real estate in Belgium and France that I will also never experience anymore.
If everything goes right, you won't.
Actually, I had a big project with Nicholas. It's good to talk. Like, we wanted to take over Guantanamo Bay
Right.
and make it into a crypto land.
Yeah.
And we were already very far. Nicholas was, yeah, I'm doing it. And
Yeah.
then we got the pictures, and it's like, no, I'm not doing it. It's a shitty place, bad architecture and bad taste.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the government will pay us more.
Yeah.
And, doing it.
Yeah. He was unhappy because the architecture was bad.
Yeah.
If the pictures had been better, he would have done it.
Are you talking about, though, an application of the actual, it stays the metaverse, or are we saying we can create,
Build a twin.
you build the twin, right? That you have it in
Yeah.
both worlds. So this is interesting, because can we use this metaverse to do crazy, solve really complicated problems, and then bring them in and see if they work? So you do a lot of the, you know, you can do a lot of the testing or whatever. You go as far as you can.
You mean of
Yeah.
social dynamics? I don't know if you could do that.
It's a question. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
You know, to give you an example, I collect clothes, fashion. So my wife and I, we compete on because I always get like, because for some reason males have 0.6%, 0.6 of the place
Mark.
where you put it.
yeah.
Yeah. So I had my apartment on Grand Theft Auto, and so I thought like, oh, how many clothes can you put in? What if I expand that? How many can I put in there then? So, and then I knew it's actually interesting.
Yeah.
You actually, you should actually first put your house digitally, and then walk through it and see
Yeah.
how you, and then build it.
Yeah.
Now, how do you walk?
And then when
through
you get to the city council, what will they make of it?
Wait, do you walk through it? Now, is this like a augmented reality walkthrough, or are you walking?
No. It's my avatar that it's with PlayStation.
Right.
Yeah. Walter, what do you think the future looks like for the metaverse?
Well, it's now pretty certain that people, are going to be living digital first, although they are not metaverse native. My son is now he's getting 30 next week, so of course he does computer science, but still, he doesn't know a world without internet.
Mm-hmm.
His frustration is about bandwidth, loading, charging, passwords. His frustration is digital. He even puts on the microwave. It doesn't go fast enough.
Right.
And so several of these generations. So the metaverse generation, it's called the beta generation, who is born now. So this generation will even be more than the internet generation, because they don't know a world where there was no metaverse. Like, what did you guys do? Fishing. What was the point? Like they won't understand.
Yeah.
Because everything is optimized.
Yeah.
So and also perhaps travel they won't understand anymore, because now place and time mean different things.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I think I like in Los Altos Hills here, the house prices are here at peak, because there is no reserve, and perhaps I should sell my house now, because the location of Silicon Valley, what will it, I still think it will come back, but it is distributed,
Yeah.
It will never be again like that.
Yeah.
So we will never again say, there will never be another Detroit for cars or a Hollywood for movies. It will be more distributed.
That's a good thing to think about.
And what is also interesting is, so Somnium Space, that's, according to me, now the best world. It's still a bit like the bulletin board, in the beginning, but give it 10 years and that's going to be it, I think.
Yeah.
Not this land. So, you should be central land. It's so like, what is this the fucking metaphor?
I'm still processing this metaverse.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you, Israel?
Doing well.
Israel, we're talking about the metaverse. What's your greatest hope for the metaverse?
Oh, and also, what is it? I keep asking everyone. This is my question. What is it?
Well, most people will say that the metaverse is an extension of reality that's going to be a mix of AR and VR. But Walter says that the metaverse is a point in time. We've entered into this point in time where everything is becoming digital. So he says we're all in the metaverse now through our devices or through interactions like this on Zoom and such. That's it. That's his basic outlook. And my hopes for the metaverse are that they save us. Like, I've been on the freeway for years and years, and I wonder, like, why does this cluster exist? Why are people so terrible at the actual doing of things? Like, we're sitting in these 6 and 7 person vehicles by ourselves, and the clog of the whole thing is just a lack of invention, a lack of intuitiveness. And then, by and large, people going back and forth to places that they don't really need to be. They could be at their home, as COVID has shown us, and certain companies have become more productive than ever in this sudden reality. So hopefully the metaverse helps us overcome distances. It helps us overcome a lot of waste. And I'm looking into a future where a lot of our physical devices disappear, where there's less clothing waste, a heightened level of productivity. I would hope that kids will have access to education that goes far beyond, because education is largely the fault of the teacher. The lack of education is the teachers, and there's some great teachers. So now, instead of having every kid taught by every mediocre C+ student that they possibly can find, why not have the most genius of people that are the greatest at what they do, teaching individuals this subject? And what we really have with not just the metaverse, but with crypto and DAOs and all of that, we have for our first time, and I'm a perfect example of this, a diversity of thought entering into the workplace. We had these traditional structures that some would say, like Naval Ravikant and Shamath Pilapataya, they talk about it as a side effect of capitalism, that this capitalist system has created this structure that says that if you go to this school and you do this thing and you do that thing, then you deserve to be in this place. And I don't really call it, I call it society as a whole. I don't think that it's capitalism as a mechanism, because no matter what the social system, you have these things that are supposed to be predictive of whether a person is capable. And really, those things are hindrance to the growth of humanity, because a person's given environment dictates whether or not they have access to these certain things or whether they take on these certain paths. And so suddenly now we have a diversity of thought entering into the marketplace. Instead of people that think one way and that are able to do things a specific way making up the majority of organizations, we have people who can think a variety of ways. And now that diversity of thought and this wild, wild west of this new frontier created by the metaverse and cryptocurrency is allowing for the gestation and the realization of ideas, thoughts, and plans that we can't even imagine. That's kind of what my best hopes for the metaverse is that we continue on this path of continued realization of diverse thoughts and ideas to attack the world's problems.
So what do you think the role of the NFT is going to be in the future?
So blockchain is going to replace the internet. So a lot of people have these ideas of this blockchain is this and that blockchain is that, and none of that really matters as much. There is a Google, like there is a browser for Google and there's a Mozilla browser, but basically they do the same thing. They allow you to interact with websites, and blockchains are going to become this interlaced web that's going to replace the internet. And within that structure, an NFT is just a form of smart contract. So within that structure, smart contracts are going to replace lawyers, they're going to replace accounting, they're going to replace banking. And through the lens of NFT, suddenly everybody's been able to understand what we've been talking about in crypto for the last 12 years, and specifically in the last 6 years since the invention of the smart contract. The NFT almost replaced crypto as a term. If you look at Google Trends going into March, NFT just means everything crypto. And crypto, basically, these NFTs or smart contracts are going to replace real estate deeds. They're going to replace contracts and working agreements. But the thing about them is that they're going to be immutable. They're going to be trustless. They're going to be self-policing. We would hope that they'll be allowed to create this self-policing system that can then rapidly, as we've seen in the last year, as a whole world finally got what crypto is and what crypto can do, we've seen this incredible jump in innovation and in partnerships and multiple billion-dollar enterprises founded immediately. That's just what human beings have the capacity to do when given the auspices to. And hopefully NFTs allow us to create better systems of trade and commerce because of their trustless nature.
Israel, tell the audience, though, a little bit about kind of what some of those great things that have been happening, because so many people don't understand, they don't know where you're in the world, you're already in the metaverse, you're there, but we want other people to really understand. So this innovation, go deeper with it. What has been happening that's sort of for you kind of revelatory, revolutionary, whatever it is, that these kind of partnerships that you're just talking about?
I'm glad that you used that choice of words, because I really believe that not much revolutionary has happened as of yet. But what's been revelatory about the organizations that have sprung up, if we look, there's a company that was founded in May called Yuga Labs, and they came out with this project, Bored Apes Yacht Club. And Bored Apes is now a $3 billion enterprise. In 6 months, it became a multi-billion-dollar enterprise, a task that takes larger organizations much longer to reach that. And they have to fundraise and they have to do all these things. But by nature of this organization of 10,000 individuals working in a coordinated effort, they were able to bring and add extreme value to this thing. That's the nature of this. What can actually happen with crypto, what can actually happen when the potential of human beings is let loose, is we can build great big things. Like, you realize that to this day, we cannot construct a pyramid because the paradigm of humanity has been broken for so long that we can't, there are no machines there. It's an impossible feat. And the biggest thing that they would say is it would cost too much. It's too expensive to build the machines, to make the thing, to do all this stuff, to lift these tons of blocks and place them exactly evenly and in perfection on the sand in alignment with the stars. We've lost our capability as human beings to work together in our current systems. So a peer-to-peer digital economy not issued by a centralized authority, that's the revolutionary idea, not blockchain. The revolutionary idea behind Bitcoin is a peer-to-peer economy not issued by a centralized authority that can then limit it and dictate it. Once you give individuals the ability to move forward, they will. If you give every single human being wants food, clothing, water, shelter, healthcare, education, and security, they've got these basic needs and desires, but they have to seek. I have the capacity to build a program or to run a company or to do all of this, but I have to seek and find a situation that allows for me to do that. Now, with DAOs and with NFT organizations, a person doesn't have to seek. All they have to do is apply themselves. They can hop in a Discord and begin to apply themselves to things. I'm part of a developer DAO, and this guy, Nadir Debet, he was my tutor, and he started by himself building out this DAO, typing out this DAO, minted up these NFTs that then people were able to get for free. People minted the NFT, joined him in his efforts, and next thing you know, they started building the tooling around his project and building tools that allow you to visualize the NFTs, to see the nature of the NFTs, to go through different numbers and code. And now they're coming out with a token called Code that will be distributed to the members of the DAO, and then have a treasury that will fund future companies and then redistribute a portion of the earnings of those companies back into the treasury and to the members, creating this cyclical, ever-growing system. So now we have these things on a small scale. We have Bored Apes on this very small scale able to do this. And I feel great to have played a large part in the foundation of these philosophies and giving people a broader understanding rather than just provenance and traditional commerce, and giving them understanding of words like community and friends, which I say without a D, and all these things. So I created this lexicon that became mimetic. If anybody has read Richard Dawkins' The Selfish Gene, which I would suggest everyone read, it was written in 1976. And so I never thought that memetics would become a popular thing. And most people use the word meme without understanding the science of memetics. But the science of memetics says that these things that we say, the ABC song, the birthday song, language, all of these are living organisms. They have a nature in and of themselves to replicate and to reproduce themselves. So ideas are digital oil. Ideas are the new power. And what we needed to have was the ability for people to begin to express those ideas without the limitations of asking for permission or being held back from doing that thing. We don't need to be cordoned into anything because we're all seeking something completely different. And there's been someone that's had the cure for cancer already, or had the cure for AIDS already, or had a way to make a car run on water already. But that person was stopped by the limitations of the structure of our last society. And now what we're on the verge of is opening up a new societal reality where individuals can combine efforts and build things that we can't even imagine.
So Walter, what are your thoughts hearing all that?
So starting with Priscilla, who said, what is it actually? I think it's for most people an existential question, but it is basically a new chapter of democracy. It's like probably the end of the beginning of democracy, because we haven't gotten to the middle of democracy. So democracy doesn't mean for the greater good. It doesn't mean that we have to find groups and agree with them. Democracy is basically, and this is what makes actually the metaverse node-centric. Every node decides selfishly for itself, or himself or herself. And only then, the voting algorithm takes everything together and out comes, as a sort of a divine hand, the solution. That is the real democracy. But if we all decide by ourselves, we're all making our own metaverse. So when somebody tells you something about the metaverse, it's only an opinion based on a perspective. So we are going to make that metaverse with 8 billion or 9 billion people, and all of them have a different idea of the metaverse. And that's so exciting. If we all had the same idea, that would be against the nature of the metaverse itself. It's like when we go and see a movie, we all see a different movie. I come from the land of René Magritte, and he said, ceci n'est pas une pipe. This is not a pipe. So basically what he meant is this is reality and this is ourselves, and perception happens in between. So the metaverse will be an abstraction of reality, but so powerful that we are willing to believe that reality is the abstraction.
So Snowcrash, what about Snowcrash? What's the opportunity of Snowcrash in these times?
As an industry, we have already done several things, like if you look at it from a political point of view, the right to express ourselves and to build stuff is the First Amendment, and DeFi, is the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms,
Right.
Defend what we have built. So we have done a lot already. In the beginning, everything is messy, in creation, everything is messy in the beginning. So new waves will come, more structure will come. In most religious texts, God makes something perfect and puts it, on earth. But the Babylonians, it didn't work like that. One of the oldest civilizations had a completely different vision. Like, in the beginning, there was chaos, and the structures inside chaos came out and became gods. So I think the metaverse will be the second one. We'll go through a lot of noisy, dark complexity and find new jewels there. Jewels of creation, far better than reality. I think reality is severely overrated. There's always people who say, oh, look at that beautiful tree or that sunset. It's not me, I don't need that. And I think there are more people like me. We all go through, let's pretend that's okay, because otherwise we're weird. But that point in time where we decide that now we want to live digitally, and you will see new words come into being like meta first, meta native, meta only. It's not for nothing that Facebook took over a complete bank just to have the name Meta.
Yeah, I'm going to ask Israel, though, the same question. Israel, for you, why Snowcrash? What's the opportunity? Because Walter, the world you're talking about, I feel we all have our different reality, but that the community to me is the key, because people can be very lonely in this reality that we live in now. And so what is Snowcrash for you, Israel, and that opportunity of that democratization? That word is over. We need new words, but what is for you? Why Snowcrash? What is it?
Well, Snowcrash, in the name itself, it's a little telling, right? So in Snowcrash is the first place that the metaverse was mentioned. And then when I looked at the patents, when I was trying to discover what I was working on here, I saw a lot of things around the building of the metaverse, the building of, and one of the early iterations of our site said, we're going to build the simulation. And that goes back to a lot of things that I was talking about earlier that lend themselves to sustainability and speed of commerce and closing the distance between people. And as we enter into this new reality, so first I was working on Web3 for the last couple of years, and then it came into the 4 now. And now I'm focused more on Web4 and what we have the chance to do after we build out these virtual worlds and virtual environments. And also we have the ability, right now people are giving up their offices, and we ourselves are a dispersed team without a headquarters, and with the ability to have a headquarters and all of us to sit around an actual table with our avatars, or with avatars that look exactly like us. Those are the type of things that I'm interested in. But what I see right now, that Snowcrash has the unique capability, because of the Wondros network, we're tapping into this nonprofits and the social good. Our first project is with UNICEF. So that's telling of what our future projects will be, and how can we work with these global organizations, governments, and companies to create these NFT projects that do social good. And what I hope to be a part of is the longer term vision of that. Because the thing about an NFT, if I buy this phone, I expect this phone to be worth less, and I don't care. And when I buy this cup, I don't care if I can sell this cup again. I'm using the cup. But with NFTs, the value, the increase, and with cryptocurrencies. And when people had $1, they didn't care that it became worth less and less. They were stuck in that reality of things being worth less and less. But when we expect is things to have instilled value that grows to be more and more over time. And so what I feel like it's my job to do is to make sure that we build things that are more valuable and that it will continue to grow in value and in consequence and in substance over time. And we're uniquely capable at Snowcrash of really actually doing these things and actualizing these things once we create what we're in the process of right now, creating the team and the body that can move fast enough to keep up with this. Because that's the thing, is that with the rapidity of this space, in the last year, I told a guy about NFTs, and 2 days later, he started a group called NFTs.tips. In 48 hours, he had gathered the individuals, the leaders in the space, me being one of them, added us to a website and created what is now one of the largest, most influential groups of NFTs. But then because of the nature of it, had diluted value, because if you're at the helm and you don't have all of the knowledge to then give to people, now you've kind of diluted the value of the knowledge stream and things like that. And I think with people like Walter and with other people that we can bring to this, we can bring the most astute at different fields of engineering and start bringing their ideas to the fore. So that's what I think is unique about Snowcrash, is our capability to pull in bodies of individuals that are interested in this and then help them actualize their vision for the greater good through the lens of Snowcrash.
And I think what you're talking about is the heart, right? That's what it really is. It's maybe all people think they're always at the precipice of something. We could go either way, but we really are. We see the challenge to democracy. We see all the challenges we have. And there is this opportunity here that I think you've beautifully articulated, the two of you, around what is possible and making a fair, more imaginative, future. So I'm in the metaverse. I'm in. So thank you for explaining this to me. Thank you so much. And for the audience, please go to snowcrash.com. Check this out. Learn more about Israel Wilson, an extraordinary artist and creator, and Walter de Brouwer. These are some founding people, and Jesse Dillon. So thanks.
Thank
See
you
you
guys.
later.
Bye, you guys.